from YouTube. Some publishers say you keep your IP, but we get right of first refusal for your next game, or we get to decide if the DLC is done with someone else. How far should we stretch for control over here?
No publisher should be having a game or content developed for your game that you're not involved in. So, one, we don't have that many publishers anymore that are coming in and demanding IP. They are going. This is one of the things I wanted to touch on later on. The signs that it's not a bad publisher. It's just something scary in the contract that you may not have seen before or you may not understand. A publisher is always going to have the option, the right to license your IP. Legally, they can't sell it without that because they would be promoting and selling something that is based on a trademark that they don't own nor have the license to use, and that's legal jeopardy. I have not seen that many contracts, even in the last 10 years, where the publisher came in and said, we flat out own the IP. That's very much a thing of years past. Now, they are going to need to license it, and the clause that says, that deals with sequels and spinoffs and DLC and all that other stuff, what that clause typically says is that, they have the first right to publish it and to distribute it, which is fair, and which realistically, if the game did well enough that it justifies ongoing DLC and live ops or sequels or whatever, 9 times out of 10, you've had a good enough relationship with that publisher that you're going to want to continue with it. Giving them the first look at it is often, quite frankly, beneficial to both of you. Some publishers will have a last match. That's where it gets dicey, because if they they give you an offer and then you say, well, I'm not sure I like that offer. I want, you've exercised your right of first look, but we want to look around. When you start going to all the other publishers, all your other options, and they ask, well, why isn't so-and-so doing this first game? I mean, why isn't so-and-so doing this game? Because they did the first one. And you say, well, they've got a last match clause. That's going to kill your deals, because publishers know that. That's why they put them in there. Last match means you can go out and shop it, but if somebody offers you a deal, they have the ability and the legal right to basically offer you equal terms and get it. And so what every other publisher sees is, why am I going to offer you anything on this just so you can turn around and use it to go back to the original publisher and get you a good deal? So having the ability for a first look is a good thing. I mean, it's just typically, if you're going to do it, I mean, if that situation is up, you've had a decent relationship with it. Even if they opt to go with somebody else to, develop the DLC or the port, most likely, that's generally where that clause comes in. It's like there's a port. You should still be getting money based on that. They are still developing content based on your IP. So, we've done things like put a 5-10% licensing fee into it, basically. But typically you see that where, the original studio doesn't have the capacity or the bandwidth to do a port or something like that to another platform. And so someone else does it. But at the end of the day, unless you sold your IP over to that publisher, you should be getting at least a small piece of everything that comes from that IP, because it's your intellectual property.
All right.